So a lot of time parents ask me like, how can I know my child is growing with coaching? How do we know if coaching is actually working? And they want measurable results. And so we talk about what measurable results might be to help see that their kid is learning and growing. But sometimes there are results that just like pop up out of nowhere and they're not exactly measurable, but they are a sign that a student is deepening their ability to think about the quality of their learning and the quality of their writing. And I had just such a moment with a client today. I was just actually cleaning my desk. It's a Friday afternoon shortly before Christmas, if you notice that, when I'm making this video. And this was the post-it that reminded me that I wanted to make a video for you all. So let me show you what she said, first of all. I made a whiteboard so you could read it better. She said, and this was during a session, I want to go back over my outline and see if I can turn it from watery to thick. She was working on a final essay for the end of the semester. And she was like, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? That my outline, it's just watery. And I think I want to make it be thick. And I want to do that before I send it to you, she said. It's like, okay, because I was gonna edit it for her. And I totally understood what she meant. Like sometimes outlines just have lots of holes in them. And we talked through like, what does it mean to be thick? And she said, well, quotes and what else was on here, like more background information and more following up the quotes with explanations. And so we made a list of that. And then she went up and did it. But why is this such a sign that she is growing? Why is this a result, even if it's not quite measurable? And it's because she was able to, first of all, notice, and I didn't suggest she needed to do it. She noticed for herself in her work on the outline that something needed to happen. And she wants to like go back to something. Like when I first started seeing her in 8th grade, now she's a sophomore, she never wanted to go back and do anything. And so the fact that she even wanted to go back was a sign. And then that she used a word, and not just a word, but a metaphor for what her outline was like and what she wanted to turn it into. That shows, like, whenever we can use metaphors in our learning, it shows that we are, especially if the metaphors are accurate in some way, it shows that we are really understanding, like we've internalized that information on a deep level. And it's one reason why in my course for educators, The Art of Inspiring Students to Study Strategically, we talk a lot about the importance of metaphor in learning and how you can weave more metaphor into your teaching if you're a teacher, or coaching if you are a coach. And so the fact that this student had found a metaphor on her own and was even aware enough of her thinking to ask me, like, do you know what I mean by that? And for me to say, yeah, I totally know what you mean. And then for us to unpack it in some really specific ways, and for her to name what specific actions would turn her writing from watery to thick, really showed she's growing in a deep, deep way. So I ask you, those of you who are educators and parents out there, what are some of the non-measurable but still really important signs that a student is growing? And if you're a student, I ask the same for you. What do you notice? Compare yourself to a couple of years ago. How do you notice that you've grown? And I betcha you'll be able to think of some really specific ways. Please take a moment to celebrate how much you've grown. It's a really important thing to do. I'll catch y'all in the next video next week. And in the meantime, take good care.